Welcome to episode 2 of how to make a Flappy Bird clone. If you haven't watched the first episode, go do that. But in this episode, we will look at how to make this flapping effect so the bird rotates up and down and fix this issue where the bird doesn't reset the game when it flies under the screen. So let's get started. First, let's start off by adding the bird flapping rotation. So go into the bird script. In here we'll add another public variable. This will be another float called rotation speed, so how fast the bird is going to rotate. I'll set this to 5. Then we'll also need a flap angle, so I'll do public vector 3 flap angle, and we'll set this to new vector 3 0,0,30, and then we'll do a public vector 2 fall angle. I'll set this to a new vector 3 again, but this time it will be -90. So the bird can really just free fall right down. Then we need 2 private variables. We need a private quaternion. We'll call this flap rotation. And then we need another private quaternion, which will be fall rotation. Now we can set the flap rotation in the start function to quaternion.euler, and we'll insert the flap angle. Now we'll copy this and do fall rotation instead and fall angle in here. Now the rotations are set. The last thing we need now is to set the rotation, and we'll do that right down here in the update function. So I'll do transform.rotation equals quaternion.lerp, because we're gonna lerp between 2 values, so it smoothly goes from one rotation to another. And in here we'll take the current angle, which is transform.rotation, comma, then we'll do the fall rotation, comma, the speed, which will be rotation speed, times time.delta time. And as you can see, it begins going from the current rotation to the fall rotation over a period of time. We also need to use the flap rotation, so we can do that right in here and do transform.rotation equals flap rotation. So now when we press the space button and the bird flaps up, it will go back to the flap rotation. Let's test it in Unity. Press start, and as you can see, it now flaps, but it's going a bit too quick. So we can change that, go onto the bird and set the rotation speed to a lower value, maybe something like 1, and now it goes slower. The other thing we needed to fix was when the bird fell out of the scene, it didn't reset the game, so let's do that real quickly. So let's go over to the hierarchy and create an empty object. I'll call this bottom collider, and then we also need a top collider, so I'll copy it. Select both of them and search box collider over here and add that. Now they both have that. As we've selected both, we can also set them both to 0,0,0 and up the X value to something like 20, so it reaches both sides. Then we can take the bottom collider and drag it down right here, and we can take the top one and drag it up here. Now let's test. Now when the bird lands the bottom, the game resets, and if we go on top, it also resets. So that's all for this episode. In the next episode of how to make a Flappy Bird clone, we will look at how to make sounds. Right now the game is silent. This video should pop up on the screen now, but if it's not, it will be up tomorrow. Have a good day.